He conquered half the world, but nobody knows much about his death. Where is Genghis Khan buried? Why have they been searching for his grave for 800 years and still haven't found it? Some say it is cursed. Others say it was hidden by order of the Mongols themselves. Or maybe it was found long ago, but its secret is in no hurry to be revealed. This is the story of the most mysterious tomb in human history. There are figures in human history who are both admired and feared. Their lives are legend, their deaths a mystery. Their graves are a mystery that they dare not reveal even centuries later. Genghis Khan is not just a conqueror. This name has become synonymous with ruthless force, ingenious strategy, and absolute power. He united nomadic tribes, created the largest empire in history, crushed China, took Samarkand, reached the shores of the Caspian Sea. His army inspired terror from the Pacific Ocean to Eastern Europe. But there is one thing he bequeathed after him: silence. He ordered his grave site to be hidden. He wanted to leave life the way he came into it, out of nowhere. No markers, no monuments, no traces, so that no one would know where his body rested. No one to disturb his peace. It's been almost 8 centuries, and until now, not a single person has officially found Genghis Khan's burial place. Temujin, the future Genghis Khan, was born in 1162nd year in Mongolia, on the banks of the river Onon. His childhood was full of sufferings: death of his father, exile, hunger. But he came out of this hell strong, fierce, absolutely determined. By the age of 30, he had already united the Mongol tribes, and in 1206th year, he took the title Genghis Khan, Lord of the Universe. He created an empire that was twice the size of the Roman Empire. Under his control was the territory from the Pacific Ocean to the Urals, from Siberia to the Himalayas. His army moved swiftly, coherently, ruthlessly. It was said, "When Genghis Khan comes, the earth becomes silent." But even being the ruler of the world, Genghis Khan remained faithful to nomadic culture. He did not build palaces. He did not erect temples in his honor. He was a nomad, and he wanted to remain one even after his death. His will said, "My body must go into the ground. No markers, no tombs, no inscriptions." Genghis Khan's death is shrouded in mystery. According to one version, he died in battle after falling from his horse. According to another, he was mortally wounded during the siege of Sia. There are also quite exotic versions: poisoning, curse, even a lightning strike. One thing is certain: he died in the summer of 1227 years. His body was secretly transported to Mongolia. All the guards accompanying the cortege were executed, so that no one knew the route. After the funeral, everyone who dug the grave was killed, and even killed those who killed these people. According to the chronicles, a herd of horses were walked over the burial site to erase the traces, and trees were planted on top. The place disappeared. The name remains. Over 800 years have passed since then, but the grave has never been found. However, that doesn't mean no one has looked. Interest in Genghis Khan's tomb dates back to the Middle Ages. Chinese rulers dreamed of finding the burial place, believing that it was filled with treasures. But the territory of Mongolia remained too dangerous and inaccessible. In the 19th century, Russian researchers first tried to systematize the legends. Alexander Potanin, an ethnographer, collected stories from old men in Mongolia. They said that the body was buried near Mount Burkhan Khaldun, the sacred place where Temujin was born and grew up. This mountain does exist. It is located in eastern Mongolia, in the Khentai Mountains. Dense forests grow there, swift rivers flow, and there are almost no permanent settlements. But there's another problem. The mountain is considered sacred. And according to local beliefs, it's forbidden to keen search for burials. Local shamans and monks believe if you disturb Genghis Khan's resting place, disaster will strike. Drought, pestilence, cattle deaths, and even war. Many expeditions attempting to work in this area encountered unpredictable difficulties. Some got lost, some got sick, some returned with nothing. In the 20th century, the Soviet Union was also interested in this mystery, especially in the 30s, when Mongolia was under the strong influence of Moscow. In 1939, a secret group arrived in the Khentai region, officially engaged in geological exploration. But according to unconfirmed reports, the goal was to find a grave. The expedition worked for a few weeks. Then, it disappeared. Its documentation is still classified to this day. There are only strange references. Allegedly, at a depth of about 5 meters, they found a rectangular masonry. After that, they were evacuated. Why? It is unknown. Some Mongolian elders said later that ancient spirits prevented the desecration of the grave, that those who tried to invade the sacred paid with their lives. Whether or not to believe, this is up to each individual. But the fact remains, no official finds have been recorded. In 2010, an organization known the world over, National Geographic, stepped in. Under the leadership of researcher Albert Lin, the project In Search of Genghis Khan's Tomb began. For the first time, satellite imagery, drones, infrared cameras were used without disturbing the surface of the Earth. This allowed for illegal scanning of the Burkhan Khaldun area and surrounding valleys. The results were staggering. At depths of 1 to 5 meters, symmetrical structures resembling tombs were recorded. One of them is perfectly rectangular. The other is surrounded by circular recesses, all with no sign of entry or pathways. When the team tried to ask for permission to excavate, the Mongolian authorities refused. The reason? Respect for tradition and preservation of ancestral peace. After the publication of data on possible underground structures at the foot of Burkhan Khaldun Mountain, the public expected a scientific sensation. But instead, there was a harsh statement from the Mongolian government. The official wording: a categorical ban on any archaeological work in the sacred area of Mount Burkhan Khaldun, Hadham. The reason is protection of cultural heritage and respect for ancestral beliefs. But behind this formal language, many people saw something else. Fear. Fear of what might be found, or of what might happen. After 9 feet, it's found. Mongolian shamans declared that disturbing Genghis Khan's rest would lead to a curse for the entire nation. Ancient manuscripts mention, whoever disturbs the great Khan will awaken a storm that neither the nations nor the heavens have seen. And this is not just a beautiful metaphor. The Mongols truly believe that the grave of their great ruler is guarded by spirits who will not allow it to be desecrated. This is not a Christian blessing of rest. It is a military protection of the grave. That is in effect even after death. The words of respected lamas and elders resounded across the country. We don't want to know where he lies. It is in each of us. And if we discover his rest, we will lose his power. The question was closed. Or almost. If the grave itself could not be searched, then we must search around it. That's what many scholars thought, and switched to the study of Kaipajuki companion burials. In nomadic tradition, a great Khan is rarely buried alone. Around him are the bodies of guardians, family, warriors, animals. All this can give clues about the location of the main burial. In the early 2000s, a group of Mongolian archaeologists discovered ancient burial mounds at about 50 kilometers from Burkhan Khaldun. They were located deep in the forest and were carefully camouflaged. During the excavations, they found a Chinese-made bronze mirror dating back to the 12th century, iron arrowheads worked in the Manchu technique, silk fragments preserved in clay capsules, horse remains stacked in a circle, a typical ritual of steppe burial. Near this was discovered a cutout on a stone, a symbolic sign resembling the tamga of the Borjigin family, the family of Genghis Khan himself. Some archaeologists said it could be a burial of one of his closest commanders or sons, Harutu, and it means that Genghis Khan himself is somewhere near. But again, the power interfered. Excavations were cancelled. The area was declared a specially protected zone, and not a single expedition ever went there again. Why? With each decade, the searches became not less, and explanations more and more bigger free. And if before they only talked about impossibility of access, now there were really conspiracy theories. Here are the most discussed ones. Theory 1. In the grave is not a man, but a weapon. According to it, along with Genghis Khan's body was buried Das, legendary weapon, probably of meteoric origin. Allegedly, this artifact has destructive power, and its awakening can change the balance of power in the world. Theory 2. The grave has already been found. There is speculation that one of the secret expeditions, Soviet or Chinese, did find the burial, but consciously concealed the fact, fearing repercussions or wanting to hold on to the treasure. The third theory is that there is no body in the grave. Some believe that all this is a legend, and Genghis Khan's body was burnt, as one of the obscure chronicles points out. Then the whole game of search is a false trail, and under the mountain lies not him at all. Theory 4. There is something unearthly in the grave, the most exotic. It claims Genghis Khan was not just a man, but a representative of another civilization, and his body does not decompose. In this case, the solution will lead not to a historical discovery, but to contact with something beyond understanding. It's easy to laugh at these versions, but in context, it's scary, because the longer a mystery remains a mystery, the more powerful it becomes. In recent years, Mongolia has tightened control over archaeological activity in the Kente Mountains. Now, to carry out even a simple scanning, you need special permission from the government and the consent of religious leaders. In fact, any search is blocked. But at the same time, the cultural veneration of Genghis Khan is growing. His image is on money, on water bottles, at the airport, in Ulaanbaatar. He is a national hero, a symbol of independence, a cult object. Maybe that's why his grave should remain untouched. Because until it is found, he is not dead. He's alive in every Mongol. He's part of their identity, their faith, their strength. If you can't physically look for it, you can watch it from afar. That's what 21st century researchers have decided. With the advent of Koitunch, Urtun depth radar, Risti Kantlant lidar, Harikintranantrar, and Hartrena hyperspectral imaging. On Arvenstein, it is now possible to study topography, forest cover, and underground structures without disturbing the surface. A research team led by Carl Graves from the USA has started a project called the Valley of the Khans. The aim is to use satellite imagery, terrain anomaly processing, and crowdsourcing to create a geothermal map of possible burial sites. Thousands of volunteers around the world studied online images of areas of eastern Mongolia, flagging up suspicious objects. Out of 1 million square kilometers, they were able to identify few dozen anomalous points. Many of them were located exactly where tradition forbids digging. Graves says, few sites are in the form of mounds, covered with forest, with regular symmetry and traces of ancient earthworks. One such site is on the southwestern slope of Mount Burkhan Khaldun. It is not visible from the ground, but is clearly traced on infrared images as Dadun Tuay Yuznin with disturbed soil density. However, access to these sites is restricted. The Mongolian government does not authorize excavations or even close-up scanning. When journalists asked a spokesman for the Ministry of Culture why, he replied, "Some doors are best not opened. If your grandfather told you not to touch the chest, maybe he knew why." In Mongolia, Genghis Khan is more than a person. He is a connection to the land, to history, to the spirits of the ancestors. He can't be portrayed in comic books. It can't be mentioned in jokes, and not to be disturbed after death. One of the local shamans said a phrase that has become an aphorism: "You're looking for his body. We keep his spirit." For many Mongolians, the very act of excavation is an insult, even if done out of scientific curiosity. And for a state based on historical memory, Genghis Khan's tomb is the last unbreakable pillar. If it is found, the myth becomes reality. And reality often can't withstand magic. The myth lives as long as it's hidden. As long as you don't know where the Khan rests, his name has power. Once the lid is opened, the power can disappear. Archaeologists are increasingly asking, should we even look for his tomb? What do we want? Artifacts? Bones? Confirmation of legends? Is it worth destroying the cult? Disturbing the spirits? Breaking the faith of an entire people? Some believe that knowledge is more important than faith. That history must be restored, whatever it may be. That truth is above the senses. Others say, not all truth makes us stronger. Sometimes ignorance is a form of respect. Genghis Khan's tomb is like Schrodinger's box of history. As long as it's closed, anything is possible. Once you open it, the possibility disappears. And maybe that's the lesson here. So, what did we find in Genghis Khan's tomb? Physically, nothing. Archaeologically, only hints. Scientifically, hypotheses. Culturally, the most powerful point of tension between science and faith. And in the soul of every Mongol is the one place where his people, his pride, his immortal ancestor rests. Genghis Khan wanted to disappear, and he did. But not into oblivion, but into legend. He disappeared into the steppe, into the wind, into memory. He became a symbol, which you can't touch, but you can feel. And if we do find his grave one day, what have we lost? When we say Genghis Khan's grave, we're not just talking about a place underground. We're talking about the very idea of memory. hidden from view. The Ha's secret Apordal that has become part of the national identity. We live in an age where everything has to be measured, recorded, categorized, where every point on a map can be studied by satellite, every structure can be illuminated by laser, every skull can be scanned in 3D. But what if there are things that can't be digitally analyzed? What if Genghis Khan's tomb is just such a thing? Not because it can't be found. It's because you can't find something that resists detection. After all, for the 8 centuries. Many nations, armies, explorers, entire states have been trying to find this place. And no one, not a single person, has been able to give the coordinates. Maybe this is the true conquest of Genghis Khan, to become invisible even in death. That's why the Mongols believe he's still with us. He is not dead. He's gone. But he hasn't dissolved. He is in the steppe, in the dust, in the rustle of hoofs. And as long as no one touches his body, he lives on in them. In one village, on the edge of the steppe, stands a small tree, a lone poplar. It's believed to be the guardian of the entrance to the valley where Genghis Khan rests. The locals don't build houses there. They don't burn fires. They don't plow the land. Every year they go there in silence, without words, just to stand there. Sometimes to leave a bowl of milk, sometimes to tie a ribbon on a branch. No inscriptions, no requests, just a token of remembrance. An old man once said, "A grave is not a hole. It's the point where you stop looking and start remembering." And that's the whole point. The great Khan left to stay, not in gold, not in bones. It's in the impossibility of being found. If we knew where he was buried, what would we do? Would we open a museum? Do a DNA test? Put the remains under glass? Take a VR tour? Or maybe we'd just lose the legend. Sometimes secrecy is a way to preserve greatness. Not break it down into facts, not turn it into news, but to leave it burning somewhere in the dark. Mongolia doesn't forbid the search because it's afraid. Mongolia forbids it because she knows that Genghis Khan has already found something we will never understand. A way to become eternal. So she says, "Don't touch him. He's with us." That's enough. Thank you for being with us. Share this video if you too believe. Some secrets should never be revealed. And write in the comments, would you look for Genghis Khan's tomb, or would you leave it alone?